Vancouver Whitecaps 2021 MLS Season Preview. I am your host, Mike Guillaume, Sons of a Pitch, an American soccer podcast. Thank you for watching this Vancouver preview. We're going to talk about a lot of things today. We're going to talk a little bit about last season, off-season players' ins and outs. We're going to talk about breakout youngsters, designated player reviews, MLS Cup odds, coach reviews, projected starting 11, who I think the most important player is for the Caps, and predictions. So stay tuned all the way to the end of the show to find out how I think the Whitecaps will do this season in MLS. Now let's talk a little bit about the last season. 27 points, 9th in the Western Conference, just missed out on the playoffs. Negative 17 goal differential. Oof, not good. Not good at all for the Whitecaps there. Definitely could have had a better season. Hopefully 2021 will be better and brighter for the Whitecaps. Now, guys, hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on your notification bell as well so you don't miss any of our awesome American soccer content. And please, please, please smash that like button and help this video grow and get out to more Whitecaps fans here on YouTube. Now, let's talk about some of the players in and the players out for the Whitecaps this offseason. Forward Deiber Caicedo, a transfer from Deportivo Cali. Forward David Egbo from the Super Draft. Javain Brown, also from the Super Draft. Bruno Gaspar, a loan from Sporting. And midfielder Caio Alexander, a transfer from Botafogo down in Brazil. Very nice players in for Vancouver. Players out, goalkeeper Evan Bush traded to the Columbus Crew. Goalkeeper Brian Meredith out of contract. Defense, Georges Mukimboliwa. Excuse me if I mispronounced that one. Option declined. David Milinkovic, mutual termination. Freddie Montero had his contract expire. And Jasser Kimri loaned to San Antonio down in the USL. I like the players in much better than the players out here for Vancouver. I think Deiber Caicedo can be a big-time pickup for the Whitecaps. Same thing with Caio Alexander from Botafogo. Botafogo is a very good team in the Brazilian Serie A. I believe that Caio Alexander should be a good pickup for Vancouver. Again, you never know when they come over to MLS if they can adapt to the different game, the different different type of play. But we saw it with João Paulo in Seattle. He came over and did extremely well from Botafogo to Seattle in MLS last season. So I expect that Caio Alexander can do the same thing. Now, players out. Freddie Montero, contract expired, no loss. He went to Seattle. Maybe he revives his career in Seattle, but Freddie Montero, no big deal on a loss. I think he's way overrated in MLS, honestly. Had some good goals for the Whitecaps, but nothing to write home about. Same thing that David Milinkovic, mutual contract termination, just didn't work out. So no big deal there either, but players in better than the players out. No doubt about that one for the Whitecaps. Let's talk about the designated players for the Caps. Lucas Cavalini and Ali Adnan. Lucas Cavalini, 6 goals last season. I expect way more this year. This guy is a proven talent, Canadian men's national team. He has played in Uruguay. He has played in Liga MX for Puebla and has been a big-time goal scorer down there. I expect him to do the same thing in Vancouver this season. Last year, again, I bring it up all the time in these MLS previews this season. Last year was kind of just a year to throw out. You've got the coronavirus stuff. You have a break, and then you've got another break, and you're going down to Orlando to play in a tournament. Then you're coming back for a phase 1 in Canada, and then a phase 2 in the United States. Completely crazy year. So kind of throw that out the window. Lucas Cavalini this season, he's now got a full off season. He's going to be playing a full season with the Caps. I like it. I think he's going to do well. I expect big things out of Lucas Cavalini. Ali Adnan, one of the best wingbacks in MLS. Just don't let him take a penalty kick. That's all I saw was that one penalty that he did the Panenka in the first, I believe it was the first game of last season. And just don't let the man take a penalty. But other than that, he's a hell of a player. One of the best defenders / wingbacks in MLS. Great left foot. Free kicks, different story than the penalties. But yeah. Ali Adnan, like him as a player, like him as a designated player for the Whitecaps, should do big things for them. But they've got that open spot. What do the Whitecaps do? Obviously, they have that money. They did put some of it into Lucas Cavalini. from the sale of Alphonso Davies. Can you imagine this team if they still had Alphonso Davies? Wouldn't that be something? But they don't. And Alphonso Davies, that money, hopefully they translate that into a big-time DP signing, which I don't expect because Vancouver's ownership usually doesn't do that, but you never know. So those are your designated players this season. MLS Cup odds plus 6,600, tied for 21st with Real Salt Lake, who they'll be sharing a stadium with this season. San Jose and Austin FC, the expansion team. So the bookies down in Vegas do not have much faith in the Vancouver Whitecaps. They have a lot of talent. They just haven't been able to put it together yet, and we'll talk about that more in the coach review when we get there. But overall, plus 6,600 for the MLS Cup. To me, this team's just not an MLS Cup contender yet. All right, before we get to Breakout Youngsters, guys, check out that join button down below next to the subscribe button. We have awesome membership opportunities here. $1.99 a month for starter level, $4.99 a month for designated player level. You get all kinds of perks. You can see them right here on the screen. Not only do you get to join the best community in all of soccer and MLS, but you continue to grow the game of soccer in MLS with that contribution to help Sons of a Pitch Soccer grow. It really helps us continue to get better and grow that conversation of soccer here in North America. So take a look at those options and please join. Breakout Youngsters. This one, a couple players, always go over to Reddit, so thanks to the Reddit community for the help on this one. As a national podcast, it's tough to stay up on some of these kids coming through the academy. Obviously, you know the starters, you know some of the depth pieces, but trying to remember all these kids in the academy and who's coming up on homegrown contracts, forget it. Breakout Youngsters from Reddit, a lot of talk about Cam Habibullah. Now, hopefully, again, I hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly. Yet to sign a homegrown contract, but Reddit's really high on this kid. They all expect him to sign a homegrown contract and break out this season. Also, Michael Baldecimo, he's going to hopefully be in the starting lineup come this season, and he's a young player that may break out as well. So those are the two breakout youngsters. Baldecimo, I fully expect him to break out this season. And then when you're talking about Cam Habibullah, again, we don't know if he's going to sign that homegrown contract. Everybody says he will. We'll see how that plays out, but a good chance that y'all get to know his name as well. Now, the coach review. Mark Desantos, MDS. Can he get them there this year? That's the question. How long does he have left? I mean, he's been here for a couple years now. He's done the rebuild. He's brought in his own players. He's a very good coach, especially in the Canadian circles, a very highly touted coach. However, he hasn't been able to get the best out of this team. He hasn't been able to get this team into the playoffs. A lot of times, this team looks very out of it. They just don't seem in sync. They just don't seem to be really going after it with that, with that gusto that they should. So I'm interested to see if Mark Desantos makes it through the season. I think this is his last year. If he does not get this team into the playoffs, I think he's out of here. If he does get him into the playoffs and it's a high seed and they win a game, I think he keeps his spot. So Mark Desantos, what happens with him and the future of this club? That's the question. They've invested in Lucas Cavalini. They've made some good signings in Diber Caicedo as well as Caio Alexander this offseason. This has got to be it for Mark Desantos. Put up or shut up time for him. So hopefully, I like MDS. I hope that he is able to get the best out of Vancouver and go from there. Now, projected starting 11. I see this team lining up in a 4-3-3 formation. Could kind of shift as a 4-5-1. However, I see it more as a 4-3-3. Crepeau in goal. Adnan, Godoy, Veslinovic, Nerwinski at the back. Baldecimo, Tybert, and Caio Alexander in the midfield, and then Caicedo and Dahome as the two wingers that could shift between the mid and the forward, as well as Cavalini up top. That's my starting 11 for Vancouver this season. No doubt, Cavalini is your guy up top. Caicedo and Dahome, two good wingers, should be able to get some good offense out of this team. Crepeau, very good, able goalkeeper back there. So again, the talent is there for Vancouver. Can they put it all together on the field? That's the question we've been asking for the last few years. Now, talking about the most important player, for me, this is the guy who, if he does well, the team's going to do well and has a great season. The team has a great season. If he doesn't do so hot, neither does the team. For me, none other than Lucas Cavalini. If he's a 20-goal scorer, this team will do well, and they'll be in the playoffs. If he scores 5-6 goals like he did last year, forget it. Not happening. Whitecaps will be, again, looking on the outside looking in of the playoff picture, and that would probably be in the end of the spell for MDS, and then who knows from there? Do they blow it up and rebuild? Do they work around the guys they've got already? Who knows? But Lucas Cavalini, he has the talent. He is proven. He can do it. He scored for Puebla. He scored for the Canadian men's national team. I expect big things out of Lucas Cavalini this year, and I think he's the most important player for the Whitecaps. First game and opponent, April 18th against the Portland Timbers, Cascadia rivalry. This game will be at Rio Tinto Stadium in Utah. Real Salt Lake Stadium, again, Vancouver getting screwed by the Canadian government and having to play their games in the USA. It's tough. That is another thing that kind of factors into my predictions, which we'll get into in a minute. It's very hard to play your home games in an away stadium and live out of an away place. It is like being on the road all season. That's hard for these Canadian teams. They've really been put at a disadvantage, and we'll see how it pans out for them. But first game, April 18th against the Portland Timbers, who are going to have a couple games under their belt from the CCL by that time. So predictions, let's get into that. But before we do that, guys, hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on your notification bell as well, and please like the video. Now, predictions, I go by a ceiling and a floor. Ceiling is the best this team I see them doing, whether that's all things going well. A floor, all things going bad. What's the worst that this team will have? For me, the ceiling is just barely making the playoffs, 7th place in the Western Conference, just squeaking into that last playoff position. Floor, on the other hand, if all goes bad, I could see this team finishing in 11th. So, again, it could be more of the same for Vancouver. It might be a good season finishing in 7th place and making the playoffs for the first time in a while. Well, at least a year. But overall, I think the Whitecaps can do it. I think they can even do better than my ceiling, but we'll see if that'll play out. Thanks for watching. My name is Mike Guillaume, your host, Sons of a Pitch, an American soccer podcast. Thank you guys for watching. Good luck to the Whitecaps this season. Hopefully they hold it down and they do well in Salt Lake, playing out of RSL Stadium there, Rio Tinto. I expect a fun start to the season. Enjoy. We'll talk to you guys soon.